The vast majority of news in the US is controlled by five huge corporations, and News Voice is fighting back against media monopolies. It's the first ever entirely open, crowdsourced, democratized platform for news. Use the link right underneath this video to download the News Voice app for free. The impeachment hearings from last week were not the fireworks that we had maybe hoped for or thought there were going to be. Last week, if I had to really sum it up, I would say we got corroboration of a lot of stuff we suspected, and then we had one new piece of information, which was about a phone call between the EU ambassador Gordon Sondland and Donald Trump, which took place while Sondland was in a restaurant. That phone call may have been surveilled by Russian intelligence, we found out, and Bill Taylor's staffer overheard that phone call. That call has since been corroborated. It happened. That's part of what we now have more information relating to. Things changed this week. Yesterday's testimony was much different, and it was very devastating to the Trump narrative. Now, whether it will do anything is another question we've already discussed, but let's talk about the substance. We had Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, credible, clearly trustworthy, careful not to say more than what he can defend with facts and personal knowledge. Still, they were smearing an active duty member of the military because they didn't like what he said, and we'll get to that a little bit later. Every witness yesterday confirmed a part of the case against Trump. Trump used foreign policy for his reelection campaign benefit. He used military aid to try to get campaign favors through getting Biden smeared. It was an extortive act of bribery. Yesterday, we had Lieutenant Colonel Vindman and Jennifer Williams, who are now firsthand witnesses to the July 25 phone call. Remember, Republicans previously complaining, everything's hearsay. Nobody has firsthand knowledge. That changed yesterday. I had previously told you the July 25 phone call is not the whole story. You can't just look at that to determine if there was bribery. That was likely the conclusion to a story that started earlier with negotiations and phone calls and emails. And we confirmed that today because Ambassador Gordon Sondland showed up and threw everyone under the bus. We were live streaming and the chat tripled in speed on our YouTube channel when Sondland started speaking because we didn't know if Sondland was going to play the I don't remember, I plead the fifth game, or if he would show up and effectively completely turn on the president of the United States. And he turned big time. And Republicans panicked and tried to mitigate what Sondland said. But Sondland said everybody knew what was going on. There were emails involving the National Security Council. Rudy Giuliani was having conversations and text messages. The president knew what was going on. Sondland made clear that the idea that, maybe you could make the case that something was implied, but we don't really know. Sondland says, and he has the records to back it up, everybody knew what the deal was. This was money in exchange for smears, meeting in exchange for public press conference about investigations. Sondland threw everyone under the bus. So that is devastating to Donald Trump. Kurt Volker amended prior testimony, also in a way that was damaging to Trump. He says, listen, I learned a lot more since my initial testimony, and I have much more to say. Even Trump's supposedly strongest witness, Volker, said Biden's an honorable man and we hold him in high regard. There's no basis to the conspiracies that Trump has been pushing. So on the substance, this has been, particularly today with Sondland, extraordinarily devastating. Meanwhile, all Republicans can try to do to slow it down is be boring, go into tangential stories about Hunter Biden or other irrelevant details, try to attack, character assassinate the witnesses. And the real problem, and ultimately this is why nothing may, quote, happen, as we're talking about in terms of making things happen. Too many Trump supporters either don't understand the severity of this, and maybe they never will, or they have actually fallen for the very weak talking points of Republicans. The goal would be if even some of the Trumpists can see what's going on, see what went down, and be pulled into the light by each one of these hearings, then it's a good thing. And we'll, of course, be following all of them, all of the live streams at youtube.com/The David Pakman Show.